If you've ever seen Puss in Boots, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you'll notice that all of these movies are made in 3D, and yet somehow they have a hand-painted or hand-drawn feel to them. In the case of Spider-Man, almost every single frame looks like it can be part of a comic. Movies like these use a range of methods to make a perfect 3D shape look like it was hand-drawn. We'll use those methods to transform our little guy from being a little bit too realistic to having a hand-drawn feel. First, before we start, I wanted to answer the question as to why not just animate everything in 2D. The amount of time required to draw every frame or picture takes a long time. For an average 90-minute movie, there's over 100,000 frames. It's also easier for some objects like cars to be animated and created in 3D. In 2D animation, it's hard to continuously draw different angles of an object, whereas with a 3D object, you only have to create the object once and you're done. It also makes the barrier of entry for animators a lot lower. This is used quite extensively in shows like Family Guy. The only problem with 3D animation is that it innately looks realistic and looks perfect since everything is so precise, something that's not present in 2D animation. Let's start with the simplest way to make a 3D object look 2D. We'll do this with hand-painted textures and toon shaders. What we can do if our character is a little bit too realistic is draw on them. We can add as much detail as we want, but the key is to keep it simple. We don't want to add too many colors and shapes because traditional 2D animation doesn't do that. Another thing we can do is adjust the shadows. Many 2D shows only have one color for the shadows. Ours is currently working how a real shadow might, by blending from one color to another. To fix this, we'll have to use shaders. Shaders allow us to do a lot. They give us the 3D object itself, and we can directly edit each point on the object and its color. So we can stretch things out or squish things, and even make our character transparent. The shaders most movies use is something called a toon shader. Instead of transitioning from one color to another, we make the shadow area into a single color. Our character is now flat and looks more like a cartoon character. We can at this point add outlines like many traditionally animated movies. There are movies who have whole systems for this step, specifically in Spider-Man, where animators drew individual outlines to allow the character to show more emotion. We can start by adding an outline over our whole entire character, and then we can add some emotion to our character if we want. I chose to opt out of that. With that step taken, our character looks far more cartoonish, but one thing is still missing. In 2D animation, a lot of the poses are physically impossible, like fitting a character into a bottle, or turning the head so fast that the head deforms. This is called squash and stretch. In 3D, our characters are rigged with bones, so having our character stretch in any way causes some issues, since each bone is connected to another. We can use shaders for the step, but shaders can be a bit tedious and it doesn't give us the amount of control that we want. A way that we can approach this is we can deattach all of the bones so that our character can be deformed in any way that we want it. If the bones don't give us the control we want, we can use shape keys. Like the eyes here should be stretching out just like the rest of the body. We can directly edit the eye itself and turn it into something that we want, and then transition between those two shapes that we created, the original eye and the stretched out eye. Now, for the people that stayed this long, I want to show you an extra tip. Keep your camera movement limited. Most 2D animations barely move their camera because it's difficult to keep track of multiple moving objects at once. So if you do move your camera, keep it simple. With that done, we can make almost any 3D animated movie look like it was hand-drawn. If you personally want to learn to do this, I've left all the resources below to help you get started. If you make anything, please let me know. That'd be amazing. Thank you for watching, and bye.